I have been recently speaking a lot about the tensions between different nations because I think it's really going to play a big part of our immediate future. I have made a few statements, some of which include, we're kind of already in World War III or right at the beginning of it. And it's one thing for me to comment something like that, to make just off the cuff remarks like that. And it's another thing for the nations or one of the nations themselves to actually make that claim. And that's what we're looking at this morning. That's the article I have for you. I'll link it down in the description of the video. It is titled, literally, World War III has already begun, signed Russia. So let's take a look at this. It says a new global conflict is already breaking out in cyberspace, a top Russian defense official has claimed, adding that Moscow hopes to work with the U.S. to reduce the risk stemming from back-and-forth digital skirmishing. Andrei, and I'm not going to try to say his last name, a foreign ministry official charged with overseeing the country's international cooperation on information security, spoke on Thursday at an academic conference on the subject of Russia's place in today's political world. He claimed that cyber attacks have become so frequent and severe as to constitute a new world conflict hidden from the public eye. A war is taking place and taking place very intensely. He warned that in his address at the Moscow State Institute of International Relations, as much as we act like this is all hidden, in fact, full-scale hostilities are happening in cyberspace. And in general, the media are correct to say this is already a third world war. We just don't know the extent of the damage or who will lose in the end or what the world's configuration will be as a result of the war. So just keep in mind, folks, that the talks that we have about cyber attacks and the grid going down, and these are very, very big likelihoods. And I have said countless amounts of times that this war is going to be like no other, that the entire battlefield has changed. Absolutely 100%. So we have no idea what it's going to look like when the dust settles, or what it is exactly that's going to be kicking up the dust. We don't know. There are so many toys, so many weapons by the different nations that have never been used in war. And I think we're about to start seeing them unfold. So anyway, it goes on to say this gentleman emphasized that the Kremlin was eager to use the structure of the UN to come to international agreements regarding digital warfare. He complained, however, that the U.S. and other nations had interfered with Moscow's attempts to make the matter a priority. In January, he reported, there will be a substantive session of a special UN Commission for the Development of Conventions for Cyber Warfare. The session was a Moscow-backed initiative, he claimed, adding that even here they tried to use different excuses to reduce Russia's role and are introducing conditions to frustrate the negotiating process. Earlier this year, U.S. President Joe Biden leveled sanctions against Russia, claiming that the Kremlin had been behind the massive hack of the Texas-based Solar Winds company, which comprises systems of more than 100 commercial firms around the world, as well as 9 U.S. government agencies. Moscow denied the allegation, saying it's high time to put things in order on American soil from where constant attacks on critical infrastructure in Russia emerge. In March, U.S. cybersecurity firm FireEye warned that Americans would be facing worse and worse cyber attacks in the future. People don't even know all the things they depend on. All of a sudden, the supply chain starts getting disrupted because computers don't work, Kevin Mandia, the firm's CEO, told Axios. And, of course, that's just another one of many ways that cyber attacks can affect us. Our infrastructure in all ways. I mean, it is a serious situation. And I do think that before we see a hot war go on anywhere, we will see a massive cyber war go on. I do believe that will be where the battleground begins. And then possibly from there, maybe space, communications. So we'll see. We'll see. Unfortunately, I do believe we're going to see. The answer's still the same for us. The answer still always remains the same for us. And that is, keep getting ready. Because all of this stuff, even though it directly affects us, the only thing that matters in the end is how we can respond to it. Shalom.